the average score seems to be that this is the worst, but I would agree that it doesn't piss me off as much as Dead Reckoning. But seriously, I wonder if I will come across a line stupider than like we have to blow ourselves up so that everybody isn't mad at us when we blow them up.
Oh, that's going to be a tough one to beat. We might be sitting. Yeah. It's very possible we might be sitting like with that as the champ for years.
I thought you were going to make a joke and say we could be with that for days.
It's the imagination.
These days, yeah.
We have to nuke our own imagination.
You're saying we should nuke the imagination?
True. We haven't seen Lilo and Stitch yet. So.
Well, I mean, do you know anything about you haven't heard anything about the ending, have you, Rags?
I have heard. I've seen a tweet or two about people discussing.
Oh, okay.
Oh God.
So we might actually.
I might have foolishly thought that this one would be really inoffensive. That was a mistake, clearly. Assuming
if what I've heard is true, holy fuck.
Which, yeah, I know.
So that everyone knows, Lilo and Stitch is next Saturday. We're all dreading it because Lilo and Stitch is a wonderful film from a bygone era, and we're having to watch the new version. Oh, Jesus. We should not think about that right now.
I don't know. I mean, the new version will be sort of an antithesis of what the original one was, which was like very much an underdog movie. It was an idea that, damn it. It's the idea, god damn it, it's going to annoy me that I've forgotten his name, that he had for like 15 years before he even got to make it. It had a much lower budget than a lot of other films at the time that were being made by Disney. It came out the same year as Treasure Planet, and it cost half as much to make. It wasn't.
It was particularly expensive. Yeah,
it was particularly expensive, but Lilo and Stitch was notably less expensive compared to a lot of the other ones at the time. It was the underdog movie. Yeah, Chris Sanders. He had the idea for like 15, 16 years before he even got to make it. I think he came up with Stitch in the 80s. It wasn't.
That's gotta be one of the greatest.
It wasn't guaranteed to. What the greatest?
An incredible feeling of vindication to be sitting on an idea that long, to work hard for it, to finally get it, and then people adore it, and it becomes a classic.
Yeah, like Stitch is, again, mentioned earlier, Stitch is like pretty perfect from a marketing and merchandise standpoint.
And to be honest with you, a creative standpoint.
Yeah, no, that's the noteworthy thing, is that it actually is not very cynical at all. It's like the opposite of that. It's a really cool idea for a character, but you know, And now the new one is primed to make an insane amount of money. It's going to make so much money.
For the lad saying, please fail, please fail, please fail. I'm so sorry.
Oh, no, it was never going to fail. It was never going to fail.
Succeed on its opening weekend. Opening weekend, it's going to make its money back and more. It's going to have the biggest Memorial Day opening weekend in history. It's making its money back. All of you that foolishly thought that they would stop making live-action remakes, why did you think that? They were never going to stop. There would only ever be a temporary pause or readjustment. They're never going to give up. They're never going back to the era of making, like, National Treasure or, like, other sort of kind of riskier ideas in terms of Disney live-action films. That's over.
Yeah, the question isn't, is it going to make $1 billion? It's when. How quickly?
Any damage that Snow White did to their perception that they can create these films will be more than undone by Lilo and Stitch.
Yeah, and it will be erased by the audience going to watch it in significant numbers and probably enjoying it.
Instead of the notion that, oh, we shouldn't be doing these sorts of things, they'll be like, oh, we shouldn't be doing Snow White.
That's how we do it.
Yeah, like Snow White was the one. Okay, I see. Yeah, nobody just. That was all right. We're good. We can continue. Get Tangled back on. Like, we gotta keep going.
Even though, again, it's just even though there are changes that are being made that are not small anyway to the story, you know, but they'll be like, all right, try and make it look a little bit more like the original. Just move it closer to that. Don't go too off the rails doing anything too crazy. Even though apparently the ending of this movie is kind of antithetical to the whole point of the actual original film.
Next week we do that, okay?
I just checked the box offices just to compare them because they both came out on the same day, which was 2 days ago. Mission Impossible has made 30 million. Lilo and Stitch has made 138 million.
Yep.
Yeah, it may well make $1 billion.
Ethan's greatest challenge is Stitch. Can't take him on. Stitch is just more
yeah,
charismatic.
no, he should have moved out of the way, just like it should have moved out of the way of Oppenheimer. Because yes, Mission Impossible versus Oppenheimer. It was so obvious to everybody that Mission Impossible should move out of the way of Oppenheimer.
Especially
like,
Barbie.
What about Barbie? It's like, I don't know. Even still, it's Mission Impossible. Fallout made $800 million.
We know that there's a major crossover of audiences for Barbie and Mission Impossible.
Well, for Barbie and Mission Impossible, yeah.
Obviously. But yes, to quote Gandalf, this is but a taste of the terror that Disney will unleash. And what I mean, in a sense, is not just
Treasure Planet. Brace
just
yourselves.
what Disney are going to do, but also what you'll see in us.
DreamWorks.
Because we care a lot about the history of Disney, but they are inching closer and closer to our specific childhoods now. Like,
oh yeah,
pretty much.
The timeline is moving up quickly.
The Incredibles is inevitable, guys. You should accept that the Incredibles will happen.
Something like Snow White would have been something we saw when we were younger. It wasn't released when we were younger, and so there's like a cultural impact and an element that binds it all to the memory a lot more. And Lilo and Stitch was a film that I saw a bazillion times when I was of that age. So,
Did you watch the TV show as well?
I never saw the TV show.
Wasn't there a sequel? Am I mixing them up?
There were 3 sequels.
Jesus.
I think they were DVD.
I don't know if I watched
VHS,
the sequels, but I did watch the show because there was 627. There was a new experiment.
Oh, that sounds familiar.
That, if I remember correctly. Yeah, he was yellow.
Yeah.
I think. I remember watching that.
In any case, it makes us madder faster when they do this, and as we've said, and it's the truth, the peak of this, and even if it takes them 10 fucking years, I feel like they'll do it. It'll be WALL-E. It'll actually.
You know what? It's so funny. I do wonder if WALL-E was successful, but it wasn't as successful as some other, like Finding Nemo was, massively.
Sure.
And hey, they've already given it a shot, right, with the fucking Little Mermaid with the fish, like flounder.
They're gonna go after a bunch of shit that we're gonna get very mad about, but that's like the one where if they did it, because there's so many elements and layers to how that film would be destroyed by this approach,
Mm-hmm. But it's again, now the other thing you guys got to get worried about is DreamWorks is testing the waters, and How to Train Your Dragon, that movie, the remake, will be successful.
Make a shit ton of money.
That will make money back. It's already got a sequel greenlit, which you know what that means. Shrek is coming. Shrek will be remade. That will happen eventually. It'd be kind of foolish not to, with how much money they're going to make off of it. That's kind of the problem.
They'll be like simultaneously making a Shrek remakes and Shrek continuations
and Shrek sequels, so that they can double dip.
Talking about the thematic value being fucking squeezed to death and ignored in Lilo and Stitch. Imagine WALL-E, like how much has to say about the commercialization of life itself.
Uh-huh.
Well, yeah, it's like whenever Disney does these anti-capitalism fucking horseshit little messages, and they're like, "Shut up, Disney."
Bro, you're like the epitome of capitalism. You are like what people think of when they think of capitalism. But it's just whatever. Get ready for it, guys. There will be more. Emperor's New Groove isn't off the table, I would say.
Oh my God.
I will cry.
I don't think so. I don't think
yeah.
I know you will. I know.
I love Emperor's New Groove.
That's why I figured to bring it up. It's great, but I mean, they'll go for it. Tangled is inevitable. Frozen is inevitable. I don't care about those so much.
Honestly, I'm amazed that they haven't already done Frozen because of how massive that film was.
Oh, yes, they're doing Moana.
Frozen 2. Moana again.
Moana came out after Frozen, and that's coming out next year, and that'll make a lot of money, guys. That will make a bunch. Snow White means nothing in the grand scheme of things in terms of the successful value of this film. It's meaningless. It's absolutely meaningless. Sorry, I had to break it to you. It ain't going away.
Yeah. What was your quote? Something about hope being dead. I mean,
rebellions are built on
dead.
Well, yeah, because the thing is that as much as there'll be things on Twitter like, oh wow, so it's just the original film but worse looking. It's like, yeah, it doesn't stop people from going and watching these films in significant numbers. There is a real economic value tethered to nostalgia at this point. And now other studios are starting to realize and essentially try and get into that essentially and tap into it. Now DreamWorks is joining, and they got a lot of stuff that they could do films for. Shrek, for instance, is a clear example. And hey, you know, who knows? Maybe they'll start testing out more unconventional ones like The Road to El Dorado.
Yeah, so someone mentioned it's like, well, you know, Little Mermaid didn't make the money back either. It's like, but the thing is, all they need is like 1 or 2 major successes to run them for another 5 experiments. They'll just be like, yeah, let's see if this works, see if this works, see if this
Pretty much.
And even if it starts
like
to run
said,
down, it's like, oh no, I guess this isn't quite working. Just one that blows up, like a Lilo and Stitch, they'll be back into thinking, oh shit, no, this works, this definitely works.
Yeah, like if you look at the average...
They will...
I was going to say, if you look at the average box office that each of the remakes have made, the average is going to be over $1 billion because they've had like so many.
Really high.
Yeah, like the
The
Lion
really
King
high.
is like the 5th or 6th most successful
1.9
movie ever made, or something like that.
It was like $1.6 billion.
Right. Yeah.
It is the highest grossing. Well, I think it recently got beaten out for highest grossing animated film, but I mean, it's still top 10 for sure. Aladdin made $1 billion. Beauty and the Beast made $1 billion. Cinderella made like $600 million. Maleficent made like $700-800 million. Alice in Wonderland made $1 billion. And Lilo and Stitch is going to make probably like 800, 900, maybe even $1 billion. Snow White doesn't matter. And hell, Little Mermaid might have barely just gotten by, you know? So like that ain't too bad compared to if you're getting... Yeah, like it might have just because it was a really expensive. But Lilo and Stitch is comparatively a much cheaper film at $100 million. That is comparatively cheap compared to most of these remakes, and it's guaranteed to make money. They'll just learn the right lessons. They're going to learn the right ways to appeal to people and try and figure out ways to essentially not get themselves in trouble. That's the main thing. So yeah, look forward to more of it in the future.
Hooray.
Yep.
You know, it's made me think about how like we did 4 episodes in a row of celebrating Andor for the most part, and like we were talking about how, you know, the future of Star Wars, but it's like more like the future of, you know, stories.
The future of media, yeah.
To be fair, as mentioned, you know, Mobland is still fucking releasing right now, and it's really cool. It's just that there's a lot of impactful cultural events in the forms of stories being told that are all just so fucking depressing. Not just mediocre, which would be fine. Really bad.
I think it's bad for I think it's bad for the world. Like fundamentally, I think like bad stories like these. I just, you know, when you compare it to something like the original Lilo and Stitch, right, with its very sort of wholesome message and story, it's like I think that has to be of some benefit. That you're getting really high quality stories that are sort of exploring these really fundamental lessons and meanings and morals in a strong way compared to just absolute sludge, where it's just like, oh, you go to the cinema, you expect sludge that's not going to stick with you, you're not going to remember it, it's not going to have an impact on your life, it won't be like foundational memories or anything. It's just like, yep, that's the sludge. It vaguely reminds you of the stuff that you actually liked that was made before. And then it just keeps going and going and going. I don't know. It's just, yeah. But hey, whatever. You know, I mean, get used to it. Sorry. Get used to it.
Are you used to it?
Stuff is never going to end. No, I'm really pissed off about it all. It bugs me a lot, as you can tell. But, you know, I mean, at this point, when I go to the cinema, I just expect I'm not going to enjoy it. Whatever I'm watching a lot of the time, I just go into it expecting like, yeah, it's gonna suck, and then it's like, yeah, it did. Wow, what a surprise.
Yeah, leave some black pills for the rest of us,
Fringy. The Last of Us season 2. You've been enjoying that. They're gonna make 2 more seasons of that. 2 more seasons, and Naughty Dog will probably never make a good game ever again. Ain't that exciting? Remember how they used to make video games like Jak and Daxter and Crash Bandicoot? Man, that sucks, huh? Remember when Bungie made Halo? And now look at them.